In the last episode of Weird Fighting Games, we looked at the underrated Fate Sword Dance by Team Rapid Fire. If you haven't watched that episode yet, I highly recommend you do so, because this time we'll be looking at another fighting game based off of the Fate franchise. I found this game by complete accident. When I was planning out Type Moon June, the video series this episode is a part of, I found Fate Sword Dance first, but I forgot to download it at the time, so when I was gathering all of the materials to make these videos, I couldn't find it, and I ended up stumbling upon a completely different Fate fighting game for PC. What are the odds? Without further ado, let's begin. Welcome to Weird Fighting Games, Episode 5, Crucis, Fatal Fake. Crucis, Fatal Fake is an indie fighting game developed by Team Light. Right off the bat, I noticed that the logo is a parody of Final Fantasy VIII with Caster and Kuzuki. A little strange, but I'll allow it. Sometimes fan games / indie games have a problem with presentation. Poor presentation can make a game feel cheap and low quality. Thankfully, despite being a fan game, Fatal Fake has some amazing presentation. If you told me that this was an unreleased PlayStation 2 game, I'd believe you, because this game just feels professional. The only area that is really lacking are the stages, which look basic, but even then, each stage has its own layout that affects gameplay and different times of day. The UI is nice and clean. It's got this storybook-esque kind of feel to it, with this warm-colored, faded page look for the menus, slight hatching on the character art, and old-looking English font. The models are cel-shaded, making it look like a game from the Dreamcast. The designs translate surprisingly well to 3D. It's like Takeuchi's drawings jumped right off the page. Crucis, Fatal Fake has the modes you'd expect from any fighting game, but I'd like to note that this game actually has online. Unfortunately, I don't have any friends who play fighting games to test it with, but it is delay-based netcode, so I doubt I was missing much. There's a featureful training mode to practice to your heart's content, a replay feature to reflect on your greatest moments, arcade mode, and the tried and true fighting game classic, Versus mode. No extra bells and whistles here. You might expect the game to play something like a Soul Calibur, or maybe even a Tekken. But the closest thing I can compare this game to is JoJo All-Star Battle, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say in my life. This game has a 3 attack button control scheme, from weak to medium to heavy, and a dedicated dodge button for dodging left and right. Of course, you can still block by pressing back. Combos can be chained together using normals, command normals, special moves, and supers. Each character has a magic circuit, this game's meter, but depending on the character, you can have more or less stocks. For example, Caster is able to store more magic than Saber because Caster is better with magic and relies on it more. Unlike Fate Sword Dance, this game doesn't have a story but has characters from all 3 routes of Fate Stay Night and Fate Hollow Axtria. All servants from Fate Stay Night are playable, but the interesting part is masters are also playable. Unfortunately, no Shinji this time, but we do have 2 Sakuras to compensate, so I guess that makes up for it. For those not familiar with Fate, masters are magic users and servants are heroic spirits from tales of old that are summoned by the masters. They have a symbiotic relationship. Servants feed off their master's magical energy. If the master is killed, so is the servant, so it's in both of their best interests to work together. The game turns this concept into a main gameplay feature. Unlike other fighters, in Fatal Fake, you pick one master character and one servant character. You're not restricted to canon pairings either. If you want to pair Shiro and Archer, Ilya and Saber, Rin and Assassin, it's all fair game. You might be asking yourself, why would I ever switch off Saber to play as Shiro? Well, here's the thing. When the servant is defeated, that's it. They're gone. No round 2, no continuing, nothing. You're left with your master, and when they're KO'd, it's game over. Servants can regain health while their masters are fighting, so if you want to get the most out of your characters, you've got to play them both and have one cover the other. This is basically how fights work in Fate Stay Night. The master has to support the servant so they can win, and that concept is translated very well into this game. Another concept brought over from the visual novel is the command spell. A command spell binds servant and master, kind of like a contract. The master can use their spell up to 3 times to power up their servant, command them to do something even against their will, or bring them to their master instantly. And that translates 1-to-1 in the gameplay by pressing all 3 attack buttons with at least 2 stocks in the magic circuit. A master can use their command spell, and depending on who the leading character is, different things happen. If the servant is leading, they usually get powered up in some way. For example, Gilgamesh here activates Gate of Babylon, and for a short time, all of his Summon Sword specials get a massive power boost. On the other hand, if a master is the leading character and is attacked, they can use the command spell, and it will resummon their servant instantly, as a sort of combo breaker or burst. The interesting part about the command spell system is, barring 2 exceptions, you can only use your command spell 3 times, meaning you have to make a tactical decision on how and when you want to use your command spell. Do you use it defensively and get yourself out of tricky situations, or do you use it offensively and power up your servant to unleash powerful techniques and devastating combos? There is no easy answer. Also, the team mechanic isn't just for show. You're not just picking 2 characters. Some characters work better together than others. Add on to the fact that the master character can assist the servants like a Marvel vs. Capcom game, and you've got a ton of combinations to try out. It would have been easy to develop a fighting game like any other, but Team Lights has gone above and beyond, taking the core concepts of Fate Stay Night and translating them to a fighting game. It doesn't stop there though. Let's talk about the most important thing in fighting games. Say it with me, the characters. The characters are given just as much love and attention as the system mechanics. Crucis Fatal Fake has way more characters than the previous Fate game I covered, Fate Sword Dance, so I'm not even gonna cover every character. We'd be here all day. So I'm just gonna highlight some of my favorites. Starting with the protagonist himself. Shiro has a mix of sword attacks and zoning with his bow. He can use projection magic to replace his practice sword with the replica daggers, which give him access to new normals, specials, and supers. A nice detail is Shiro is the only master who can regain health while sitting on the sidelines. Rin has powerful magic, but it comes with a catch. She has limited casts based on the amount of gems she has on hand. Some spells use more than others, so it's a tactical decision on whether you want to use your big spells now or save them for a possible game-winning combo. Ilya is a unique master in more ways than one. She doesn't actually fight, and when her servant gets KO'd, she loses, that's it. On the flip side, she has infinite command spells and gives the servant the ability to cancel their attacks, giving them higher combo potential. Think of it like Red Roman Cancel from Guilty Gear. Kirei fights with a hand-to-hand style. He has one of the most powerful and best-looking last resort supers in the game. And if you pair him with a character like Caster, who has a high magic circuit, he can wipe a master's health bar out, just like that. Insanely fitting for one of the main antagonists. Kuzuki is a character I've always wanted to play as after his introduction in the Unlimited Bladeworks route. This high school teacher beat Saber with his bare hands no less, and that gets him respect in my book. It's just so satisfying to pull off combos with him. They did a fantastic job translating his assassin fist fighting style into this game. Saber is Saber. She plays exactly like you'd expect, and her Excalibur looks better than ever. Saber has this projectile super, and after using it, it unsheaths her sword and makes it visible. A cool little attention to detail. Archer once again has the coolest move in the game. When using his command spell, Archer starts to recite his Unlimited Bladeworks incantation. If he's damaged at all during this, he stops, but if you get to the last verse and input a special command, his Marble Phantasm is unleashed.
So, as I play, Unlimited Blade Works.
For a short time, he gets access to all new normals and special moves, which are extremely powerful. Again, like I said in my previous video, this will never not be the coolest thing I've ever seen. Caster, a character that wasn't playable in Fate Sword Dance, gets her time to shine this time. And man, what a time it is. To no one's surprise, she is a zoner with some of the most powerful projectiles in the game. But she takes the zoning to the next level with zoning throws, a grab that can hit you from across the screen. If she lands her dagger super, she'll stab the opponent and drain all of their command spells, which is kind of lore accurate and extremely dangerous for a level 2 super. Lastly, when she gets powered up by her command spell, she gains the ability to fly, making it even harder to get in on her. Oh, and I almost forgot the most important part. She's got the skeleton summer. Summer? She's got the skeleton summon. Look at him go! He's trying his best. Gilgamesh has his Fate Root appearance in this game, and I want your opinion on this one. I think this design looks stupid. From the slicked back hair, big earrings, and ugly gold armor. His other appearance, despite being basic, looks so much more pleasing. I didn't like his gameplay that much this time around, but they did a fantastic job with Gate of Babylon, and his last resort is just perfect. Lastly, I want to talk about Lancer. Lancer is unique because he's a charge character, and that only makes sense. Lances are thrusting weapons after all, so using charge moves just feels right. I haven't mentioned this before, but besides Saber, Lancer is my favorite servant from Fate Stay Night. I've actually only read Fate Stay Night, so I don't know if he's a popular character, but I hope he is because he's cool. Something I noticed was when using Gale Bog, the lance will always pierce the opponent's heart, and it even has a little blood splatter, which again is just a fantastic attention to detail that Crucis Fatal Fake delivers on almost every character. Overall, Fatal Fake goes above and beyond in taking the characters from Fate and faithfully adapting their movesets into fighting game archetypes. I don't really know where else to put this in the video, but I did find a tier list for this game, and here it is. As you can see, Saber is the best character in the game, which it's not really surprising. So if you ever play this game with your friends, make sure you pick Saber if you want to win and make everyone upset. Crucis Fatal Fake was a pleasant surprise. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I only found this game through pure chance, and I can't help but consider myself lucky. The game wears its love for Fate on its sleeve. The attention to detail in each character is absurd, and it's almost like the developers read every line of Fate and took everything into consideration when designing each character's moveset. Crucis Fatal Fake blows games like DBFZ and Grand Blue Fantasy Versus out of the water when it comes to making an authentic experience in relation to the source material. This game is a must-play for any fan of Fate, or if you're feeling nostalgic about early 2000s era 3D fighters, give this one a go. You won't be disappointed. And hey, maybe it'll get you into Fate, who knows? What I do know as an indisputable truth of the universe is that Crucis Fatal Fake is a weird fighting game. Next time on Type Moon, June, we'll be looking at the forgotten Melty Blood character that never got a chance to be in the game despite being a main antagonist since day one. Until that time comes, thanks for watching and bye for now.